guys, this is Intermodaltrucker. My name is Larry, and I already shot this video, but then I started thinking about it. I was like, hey, why don't we shoot it when we're driving? And we're coming through Memphis, so let's do it over again. I kind of think that I'll give you guys an explanation of what happened to JB Hunt. You guys have an invested interest in my channel. You guys spend your time, take time out of your lives to follow along, and you guys kind of have an interest in my life. So I'm going to explain it. I do not want this to become a rant video and everything else, so I'm trying not to do that. If I do get a little bit off on it, well, I apologize. It's not meant to be. So let's get started. So Robert, fill that cup of coffee, empty that ashtray, here we go. I started at JB Hunt I worked there for about 2 years and about 4 months. The first couple months I went in there and I decided I wanted to work on nights. I kind of went through orientation and listened to all this stuff, and you kind of get to pick your times you want to run. You can run it like a shift, and so I decided I'd be a night runner. I didn't want to be coming in and out of Chicago and going through Milwaukee and everything during the daytime and dealing with traffic and everything. So I decided I would do a night shift. The issue with doing a night shift, though, is that you do not get any kind of help. There is no support whatsoever. You basically are left off on your own, which, you know, it's not a terrible thing. I've been driving for a long time. I have this under control. You know, it's not a problem. But the issue, you know, I was just new to Intermodal, but after a few months, it was like, you know, no problem. I got this. So it worked out good. And I was running for a while. And I ended up, a lot of times during the night, I would get empty, say up in Green Bay or Appleton or whatever, and they would come back to me and shoot me a load that picked up the next day during the day. And I was like, I'm running now, I have hours to run. And they're like, well, we don't have any loads. And I'd be like, well, I'm sitting at such and such place, and they have 8 loads sitting here, ready to go. And I would be like, well, those loads are on other drivers. Well, I started doing some investigating and everything else, and I found out the other drivers were drivers that got empty the night before, and they put in their ETA for 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 in the morning, with 11 hours to drive. And the dispatch would give them a load that would be ready at 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning or something, and give them that load the night before. And then I would come up there and I'd be empty at 1 in the morning, and there would be no loads because they're all put on trucks where the drivers are all sitting there sleeping. And the thing is that at 8 o'clock in the morning, all the companies call in with all the, you know, loads that they loaded that night, all these extra loads that are ready to ship. So at 8 o'clock in the morning, there's like a whole bunch of loads. And when I went through orientation, they said this one thing. They said, the reason why, you know, most people leave is because they don't communicate. And they showed us this app for the company that you have. And basically, what you do is you punch it, you tap your little icon of yourself, and it would show who your manager was. And then if you tapped on his icon, it would show who his boss is. And so on and so on and so on, all the way up to the CEO of the company. And they're like, if you have an issue, all you have to do is do this and go to the next person and contact them with your issue, and let's get this resolved. Don't let it fester and everything else, and then, you know, you get all upset and you leave. I tried talking to my manager, and they call them fleet managers. And a lot of companies, they call them dispatchers. Some other companies, they call them driver managers. These guys got to have their own special name, and they call them fleet managers. And the reason why they call them fleet managers is because they say that the manager is not just about one driver. He can take care of the whole fleet. That's their thinking. Well, the problem with that is that they don't know everyone. They know the guys that are maybe on their board, but they don't know everybody else that's driving. They don't know what times of days they do and how they run and everything else, so they can't really deal with you. And so that is a big problem. But I went up there and I spoke with the manager a couple times, my fleet manager, and tried to get this, going right. And I'm going to spell it real plainly, he was a putz. He was really bad. And he used to work at a cell phone store. I think you guys have heard me once while saying, my manager, he used to work at a cell phone store. How does that qualify him to be my boss at a trucking company? And this guy used to work at a cell phone store, and somehow they used to have cell phones that you could call when I first started there. And if you called his cell phone, you would actually get transferred to a operation in Arizona for some phone company, and the lady would be like, "Who are you trying to get a hold of?" And it was like, "What's going on here?" It was really confusing. And I mentioned something about it. He was like, "No, my phone number works." And he called me with his phone. And I was like, something's not right. I tried calling him later, like a day later, and did the same thing. And so I ended up, what I did is I went up to the terminal and I sat right outside the office. And I called the phone number and I let it ring. And as it picked up, I hit speakerphone and I walked into the office. And I started talking to the lady and everything else. And she's like, "I don't know how you're getting this number, but this is not JB Hans." And the guy, and everybody in the office turned and looked at me. And the guy turned and looked at me. And I said, "You want to tell me that you're not doing something with your phone?" And the terminal manager saw this happening, and that terminal manager came out and started asking questions. And I said, "Don't touch your cell phone." And I hung up, and I called, and I showed the terminal manager his phone number in there, and I called it again. I said, "Don't you touch that phone." I said, "Let's see if your phone number rings." And I called, and it did the same thing. I don't know why this guy's going so slow. I guess I'm trying to get over, but everybody's blocking me here. I can't get around this guy. So I ended up, so they chewed him out pretty good. But then I went into the terminal manager's office and I sat there talking to him, and I explained my issues, that I was getting shut down, was not getting loads, I was losing 2 or 3 hours of drive time every night because I was not getting pre-planned. And I went over this with him and stuff, and he called the manager in there, the fleet manager, and he chewed him out. And he tore into him pretty good. And he told him, he says, before you leave for the night, I want you to make sure this guy is pre-planned for a total of 11 hours of driving every single night. And I left out of there. Everything good. It went on for about 3 months, I want to say. And I was running good, man. I was running. I was hauling. And the requirements is they ask you to do 2,000 miles a week. And it may not seem a lot, but when you're doing like 3-4 pickups a day and stuff like that, and especially if you're a day driver and you have to deal with Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Chicago traffic during the day, it's that 2,000 miles is a full week. But running at nights and stuff, And since I was being pre-planned every day, I started racking miles, guys. And they have a leaderboard up in the office. And every week, I was right at the top of that leaderboard. It shows like the driver code of the person, and then it'll show them how many miles they got for the week. And it was kind of an incentive thing showing people, you know, hey, this is what you should strive for. Well, it was always like 24, 25, 26. Those were the big numbers. And then I started working there and I started really nailing this thing. And I was putting up numbers of 32, 3,300 miles a week. And that's a lot of miles for intermodal when you're doing multiple stops like that. But I was running them good. So we're going along. Everything is great. Paychecks are crazy. You know, it's awesome. Everything is working out well. Basically everybody there was learning. Just leave me alone. Let me do it. Stop messing with stuff, and I'll be good. And everything was working out okay. And then all of a sudden I got a message from the terminal manager, and it said, hey, it's been great working with you guys. I am going to go back to school, further my education, so I'm going to go for my master's, give me more opportunities and stuff, but it really has been a pleasure working with you guys. Have a great time, or have a great career, or whatever it said. And I was like, okay. And then like the next day I got a message from some other guy, and he said, hey, I'm your new terminal manager, you know, stopping in, I'm looking forward to working with you, my door's always open, or something like this. And there kind of was a little ruffle in the office, because there was some decent managers in there, and there was one of them that was really good. I think her name was Karen, if I remember correctly. She was awesome. She was not my manager, but she would come in every morning. She would come in at 5 a.m. They were not supposed to be there till 6, but she'd always come in at 5. And all the loads that I did during the night dispatch wouldn't even talk to me. They wouldn't even dispatch me on stuff or nothing else. I just didn't even bother with them. But she would come in the morning, and she'd always come in, and she would go through all of the people who ran that night and go over everybody's boards and straighten out, you know, do everybody's drops and hooks and get everything straightened out on the computer. Everything is going good. She'd always send me a message saying, hey, Larry, you know, hope you had a great night. Everything good. Something like that. She'd always, you know, send me something like that. If I needed anything extra, then I would shoot her a message back. She would take care of it pronto. She was awesome. And after that guy came in there, he worked in there for a few weeks. And all of a sudden I got a message from her saying, been a pleasure working with all you guys. I'm out of here. And I called her up on the phone as soon as I got that message, and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, I can't work here with this. She goes, I just went and got a different opportunity, and I'm out of here. And she goes, I wish you the best of luck. And I was like, geez. Basically what it was she should have been a terminal manager. She should have been promoted to terminal manager. She deserved it. She was the best one there. She had worked at Schneider for many, many, many years, and she knew what she was doing. And I think she got upset that she got passed over, and a new guy came in there, and he came in there all headstrong, and I'm the boss and everything else, and I think she just kind of went, yeah, I didn't sign up for this, and she left. So then we started the revolutionary door of terminal manager, or of fleet managers. There was a lot of them, guys. I'm gonna jump over here and pass this guy, this container boy. There was a lot of fleet managers that came through the doors, and there were some bad ones. And this guy, and then all the loads and how I was pre-planned and everything, it all went away. It went back to the old way, sitting around. I went back up into the office, met with the terminal manager, explained the situation to him, how it was, worked before, and it worked great. Oh, okay, yep, we'll take care of it. It would work for a week. Then it would stop. Then, about a month later, I'll go back up there, do the same thing. And each time I kept getting a little bit more heated about it. And hey, guys are not doing your jobs, come on. And we kept going over and over. Oh yeah. Well, the fourth time I went up there, he said something to me that almost made my jaw hit the ground. And he said to me, he looked up my numbers and everything else, and I was making good numbers. I was making good money, guys. But I wasn't making the money that I did at the very beginning. And I wanted more. I was willing to put into work. I wanted to get paid more. And he said something to me, he was punching up, and he looked at me and he goes, "There's nothing I can do for you." He goes, "You're one of the top paid drivers up here. I don't know what the problem is, but there's nothing else that you're going to get." And I could not believe that he was a boss. In my 35, 37 years or whatever of working, I have never met somebody in a leadership role that had somebody saying, "Hey, I want to work harder, I want to do more," and he'd go, "Yeah, I'm not doing anything. That's it. I don't care." After that, I just went, wow, this guy really doesn't care at all. He's just bad. He's not a good boss. And things really started changing. And he had an office right inside of the office. And his door was always closed. He would never have his door open. And I'd go up there and need something or whatever, and I look in there and I'm like, "Oh, is he here?" He's in a meeting. And I'd be standing right next to the door, and you couldn't hear nobody talking in there. He just didn't want to be bothered. And then all of a sudden, we got this thing come across, and they said, "Hey guys, great news. We're going to increase your pay by 8%. And I went, "Okay. Oh, but hey, you lost your congestion pay." Well, congestion pay was every time that we headed south, going through Milwaukee and Chicago, us Green Bay drivers, we would receive what was called congestion pay. And it was $25 every time we went down. Well, guys, I was running hard. I would run down into Chicago a lot of times twice a day. So I was making $50 a day by doing this. And this would come out to be $225 onto my paycheck of just a bonus. And then us, and they go, "Yeah, that's gone." But they raised our per mile by like $0.015, and they were like, "Oh, this is great, let's do a dance." And I went up there and I'm like, "This is wrong. This is not right at all. You're taking money away from us." "Oh no, you got an 8%. They just kept repeating it like it was just, they just couldn't stop vomiting it out. It's just, they had an email that's what it said, and they just said the same thing over and over. And I'm like, "Listen, I'm not the brightest, bulb in the whole batch here, but I can use the calculator." And you say that, okay, I got an 8% raise because you guys increased the drop pay, and you guys gave us a $0.015 per mile, and there's a couple other things you've increased to say it's 8.5%. But you took away my congestion pay, and my congestion pay was 13.5% of my paycheck. So I lost 13.5%, but you guys say I gained 8.5% or 8% or whatever. Now, I'm not the most brilliant cue ball over here, but I can tell you, I'm losing money. Oh no, you're wrong, they kept saying. And I was so frustrated with them, and I had a lot of stuff going on in my life, with the divorce and blah, 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 and all this stuff. I actually kind of stepped back and everything, and I kind of just went, I stopped working as hard. I started working 5 days instead of 6 days, and blah, blah, blah. And I was not happy with the place. Then I started recording these vlogs. And I went, you know what? It is a good job. I think, if I work with these guys and get this back the way it was, I can really, I can show how great this is and everything else. And so that's what I wanted to do. And so I went up there to talk to him, and then here, this guy that said his door is always open they actually, he closed his office and they used it for a storage, and he turned around and spent JB Hunt's money, and rented an additional office away from the dispatching. So now he was all by himself, and he would just sit in his little office with his door closed. And the whole time this is going on, we're losing accounts, blah, blah, blah. The whole place is just, it's getting worse and worse. And I think I talked about, I need to go up and talk to the boss man. Things are not going right. I'm going to straighten this out. I went up there and I had a big meeting. I talked to actually the regional terminal, the regional intermodal guy, his boss. I talked to HR. I got everybody in a discussion and went up there, and I had a meeting with him in the office, and they had people on the phone and everything. And I spelled it all out for them. And I said something about losing money. Oh no, they started spilling out the same stuff. I said, I want you to go on the computer and look at my pay from before you guys gave us this pay increase, and look at it now. And you tell me that I'm making 8.5% more. And he punched up and looked in there and stuff and looked at it. And honestly, he looked across the computer at me. He's like, yeah, you're right. He goes, I expected a lot more resistance. And I says, all the drivers I've talked to, everybody's complaining about it, and everybody's saying they've talked to their managers about it and everything else, but you're saying you haven't heard a thing. And I said, so something's not right here. And at the end of the meeting, he's like, we're going to take care of you. You're our top guy. We want to make sure this goes well. You know, he goes, you're putting it on our court. I love it that an employee, you know, and a phone conversation was going too. There was a phone with the other bosses. And he's like, you know, how can we not love when an employee contacts us and says, hey, I want to work harder. So now the ball's in our court. And I said, okay. I said, let's make it happen. So I left out of there. And I had a fleet manager. I went through a bunch of them. And this guy was like, he was actually good. And he really started working with me, and things really started changing. And then I got a message from him, hey, I'm leaving, I'm taking a different job, and JB Hunt, I'm going to receive. And I was like, oh boy. And then I got a new fleet manager. And the new guy came in there, and it all started over again. I went out there and I tried nipping it right in the bud and everything else. And I got comments like, well, if you don't like it, come up here and talk to the terminal manager and stuff. That's whatever. But then I had this injury last October. And I should have taken more time off to let it heal at that time, but I have all these goals and plans for debt-free, and I just didn't want to be off of work. I've never been on like work comp or unemployment or something. I've always worked really hard. And I went right back to work, and I said, I'm ready to go, you know, come on. And it was like 6 days or something, I was back to work. But it still hurt, but I kind of worked through it. I, you know, did a lot of icing and stuff, and kind of got it decent. Well, then, you guys know if you watch my videos a few months ago, it was like 3 months ago, I started saying, well, you know, my back's sore, my back's hurt, you know. I started mentioning stuff about it, and then I made that mistake of sending in a comment just saying, hey, I'm tired and my back's sore, I'm shut down. And boom, that started. And I thought, you know, they abandoned me in Chicago because I had to go into the terminal down there, and they said I had to talk to the safety people. And I went and talked to the safety people, and they're like, well, you have to get a release back to work from your doctor. And I said, well, my doctor's 3.5 hours away. And she just shrugged her shoulders and said, that's what you have to do. And I said, well, how am I supposed to get up there if you guys won't let me drive the truck? And she goes, it's not my problem. That's what she said to me. And I'll move over and let that man come out. He was running his shoulder there. Now the man wants to come over to my... and take off my bumper. So I had to rent the car, my own money, to get home. That made me upset It was just like, really? You know, is that what you guys think of me? So I got home and I decided, okay, they want to play this game, so I'm going to go and play the game, and I'm going to go see the doctor, and this is something that did happen there, and, you know, I got proof of it and everything else, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to actually get this fixed. I'm not going to sit here and keep prolonging this. I want to get it fixed. So I attempted to do that. And I started going through it, and then I started receiving letters from different departments in JB Hunt. And JB Hunt has so many different departments. Nobody talks to each other. And I started getting letters, and there was one common word that was in every letter. And that word was termination. And it would say something like, you have to do this, or you have to sign this, or you will be terminated. And I just thought, wow, what an insult. I'm supposed to be their top driver, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And that's the way they're talking to me. And I actually called the terminal manager, and he was all like, oh, no, we want you back, blah, 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 and everything, you know. And I said, well, you better call these people and stop sending me these letters threatening me like this, because I'm not signing any forms or nothing else. We're going to get this fixed and everything else. And he, okay. Well, like a week later, I got another letter. Everything, same thing. And the thing is that they have a work comp department in JB Hunt. They have safety. They have, you know, every different department. But the thing is I never talked to work comp department. They actually farm it out to a different company. And that's who I talked to. And that lady basically would tell me, hey, you know, this company here is pretty crazy on this stuff. Just to let you know, I mean, she was, you know, like talking like, wow, this is, you know, insane and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And it was just kind of funny. And so, come on, cars. And, so whatever. And I ended up, you know, constantly fighting with them and everything else. And I went into kind of a very dark place. I could tell you, people were telling me that knew me and stuff, you know, you're really depressed, you know, is everything okay? And everything else. And I kind of stopped videoing and stuff because I didn't want to make this a little Debbie Downer type, you know, channel and all this, blah, blah, blah. And then I found out through a little casual comment made by somebody that they were watching my videos. And I was like, whatever. I wasn't doing anything wrong. And so everything out, you know, everything's fine. And then all of a sudden they tried to put me back to work, light duty. And I was seeing one of their doctors, and their doctor wrote me up that I could go light duty and all this stuff. And I was like, whatever. You know, they don't have light duty. You know, and it's a 3-hour drive to get there. So, I mean, I'm not doing that. I'm like, whatever. Well, then they turned around, and what they did is they sold me off to a thrift store. And they sent me a letter, and they said, you're to report to this thrift store for work. You're going to be there from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. You're allowed a half an hour break. I guess the speed limit for trucks is 55. I got to slow down, I guess. And so you're going to be allowed a half an hour break for lunch. When you get there, you're going to have to use their phone number and call in to us, let you know you're there. It has to be with their phone. When you're ready to go on your break, then you can call, then you got to call us back and let us know you're going on your break, and then 30 minutes later, you have to call back and let us know that you're done with your break, and then when you're going to leave for the day, you have to call us and let us know you're done for the day. and you're going to be paid $10 an hour. And I just thought, wow, is this really what they think of me? So I made a few phone calls, had some conversations with different people in different departments about it and everything else. And I actually called up a lawyer and talked to a lawyer, and then the lawyer said, if you want to keep your job there, you have to do it. And I did some soul searching about it and everything else, and I decided, you know what, I am just a number there. That's all I am. They do not care about me whatsoever. All they want to do is sell me off to this thrift store place so they can use that as a tax write-off so I can, they can claim some of the money back that they're paying me at work comp. And guys, this whole time I have never collected a check from work comp. I have never been paid from that. The deadline was today, so I just got paid finally for the time that I had off. And that's why I haven't been able to put these videos out, because I am no longer working there. I am done with them. I will not be treated, I will not be disrespected the way that they have been doing. And so I'm done with them. They have such a high rate of turnover. That's the reason why. So we went through the whole process, and I looked and I talked to you guys about, hey, maybe I should, because US Express contacted me and they wanted me to come work for them and they wanted me to train and everything else, and I could video and stuff. They said, well, I started thinking about it, and I was gonna do that, and I started thinking about it, and I thought, it's hard for me to work for somebody. I have a very independent spirit. And so I went, why am I going to go? I'm fed up with JB Hunt and all their policies and safety meetings, hey, it's fall time, the leaves are falling, they can fall on the road, and if it rains, those leaves will be slippery, Really, I've been driving those 20 years. I think I got this, I don't need to go and lose loads and sit in your little safety meeting, figuring this out. I think I'm okay, but you constantly get called into stuff like that. So I kind of sat here and I looked around and I went, why am I going to go to US Express, which is another big company, and deal with the headaches again? So I called up John and I said, John, I want to ask you something. Your boss there, you guys have talked, and he's been asking, why doesn't Larry come work here and everything else? And you've been trying to get me to come over there for a while. I says, I want to ask you a question. I want not to step on your toes, because you do the YouTube thing and you work for ADL. I do the YouTube thing, and I'm thinking about coming to work for ADL. Do you have any kind of problem with this? And he's like, why would I have a problem with that? Come on, let's go. And I'm like, well, it's your thing. I don't want to step on your toes. No, come on. And it's like, all right. I said, let me think about it overnight. Send me your boss's number, and I'll think about it. So he sent me the number, and he told his boss I was going to call. And the next morning, I called him up, and I said, hey, I'm tired of the big company stuff. John, you treat John well. I'm going to come work for you. He's like, come on, let's go. That was basically about it. He said, the only thing I got to do is I got to get you a drug test. And he says, otherwise than that, you're ready to go. I said, okay. I said, well, next time John comes out there, I says, I'll jump in his truck and he'll give me a ride out. So that's what happened, guys. And he's a really nice guy. He's been treating me well. So what more could you want? I got a beautiful truck. I'm happy. It's a little bit different being over the road. It is. It's taking a little bit to get used to, but no problem. So there you go, guys. That's all what happened. That's why I left JB Hunt. Let me end with this. I have said in the videos in the past, I think this is one of the top truck driving jobs out there. Working JB Hunt Intermodal. And I have given reasons why over the last videos and stuff. I stand behind that. I think that JB Hunt has it nailed with that job. It's a great truck driving job. You can make good money, got good benefits, you know, everything else, and you can kind of run it like a shift where you're not running one day and one day at night, you know, and you're tired and stuff. You can do that. I think it's a great truck driving job. The problem is the office. And the office just fights you. They make it difficult. And there's so many little things that, you know, I'm not going to go all into and everything else, but it's just constant, just difficulty dealing with the office, and they make it impossible, and they get you so frustrated about stupid little things so much. They just need to leave it alone. If they could learn how to better do that, it would be a great job. So I stand behind what I've said, and it's a great truck driving job. And I got an email from somebody saying, hey, you know, I'm kind of concerned. I'm starting JB Hunt. I'm supposed to be in orientation. You know, I'm kind of concerned now that you're jumping ship. Why you jump? What's wrong? You know, I think it's a great job for people. And if you're able to deal with the company stuff, with the you know, having so many different bosses and everything else, I think it's a great opportunity. But if you're like me and more independent spirit and stuff like that, it can't work. So that's why we're doing it. So I hope you guys follow along with the journey that I'm starting here. And I hope everyone out there is having themselves a great day, great night. And if you're not, all you gotta do is change it. That's what I did. I was sitting at home, I was in depression, I was upset about things, and I decided, you know what? Why don't I take my own advice and change these things and make it better? So that's what I've done, and I'm gonna tell you, I've had a good week. It's been really good. A lot of new exciting things going on and everything else, and figuring things out. I've had a good time. So there you go, guys. So until next time, see ya. Bye.